The China Initiative was launched in 2018 by the U.S. Department of Justice during Donald Trump's first term as president. By 2020, other U.S. institutions had followed with similar investigations, but most cases were no longer related to espionage or intellectual property theft. Instead, investigations focused on Chinese scientists who failed to disclose ties with Chinese institutions when filing their grant applications. Such affiliations included travel grants for collaborative research and joint academic appointments. Previously common practice and often encouraged, those links
习惯了在他们自己本地祖国，他们习惯了，成为了他们成为的人，然后他们就往外跑，往外学习，吸收更多经验，学习更多想法，到最后他们还是习惯了祖国的看法，祖国的地方，或者是可以回去祖国，再让祖国增光发扬，改变世界。所以这里说回去中国，人家到处跑啦，赚到了，去那儿看，去那儿看，到处跑，要住多久随便。再看。
suddenly became problematic when Chinese institutions were involved.
While many of the cases were dropped due to a lack of evidence, the ongoing scrutiny against many of the scientists has led to a lasting impact.
Many of them lost funding, which greatly disrupted their lab operations.
Lost funding from what? The US itself? Because they was in US?
In the research world, you need a stable funding. That's why.
Stable funding, research and development. Money.
You cannot just operate in a lot of, in one period with a lot of resources, and all of a sudden you lose all the resources. And how can you continue? A lot of people.
How can you continue? You're in too deep. You need to find a way to cope. Put your eggs in different baskets. That's just a saying, no. You need multiple sources and to maintain the sources. Now, if you have not know how you've maintained it for so long, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of 高手在那儿 preparing to teach you a lesson. Why does it sound so bad? Ask for a lesson and be taught a lesson, imply the lesson, and work the lesson.
His career was destroyed that way.
Fu Xiangdong is a leading molecular biologist. He was a professor at the University of California, San Diego.
Even video filtration and saturation. Oh, they make it look so depressing now. Hey, the grass is always greener where you water it.
When investigations into his Chinese affiliations began in 2019, he maintained he had never acted inappropriately or illegally, but his funding was stripped and he was banned for 4 years from applying for grants from the National Institutes of Health, the largest funder for academic biomedical research in the U.S.
这样你也不能怪他要回他祖国啦，这个美国搞什么呀？
Or certain project get disrupted, and it's very hard to continue. So by the time I get all the money back, I feel I was no longer in the productive mode. So I feel instead of giving up, I would better to start it over by going back and rebuild the team from scratch.
Fu resigned from UC.
Yikes! California, you republic with a bear logo.
CSD in December 2022, and after nearly 40 years in the U.S., packed his bags and left.
40 years in the US, all that money earned, don't you go anywhere else?
While several scientists he knew in similar situations moved to Canada and Europe, Fu joined many others who returned to China. According to a study by a team from Princeton, Harvard, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, less than half of Chinese scientists who left the U.S. in 2010 chose to return to China. However, by 2021, the share of Chinese scientists heading home had risen to over 2/3.
Some of the pull factors that China has for scientists include its research environment. Many scientists have expressed that China's strength in science and technology is what has drawn them to the country.
China has risen as a
There's so much to do. There's so much to control. No, not really though. Not really no. Do you get what I mean? If you do, list down in the comment sections down below.
global scientific powerhouse in
I
recent
need to go.
years. It overtook the US as the top country in scientific research according to the 2024 Nature Index. And on Nature's list of the top 10 science institutions, 7 are based in China, while only 1 is American. The Chinese government is also luring scientists back with various incentive schemes and talent programs.
Many have also come to China and taken up roles in universities that are high level, such as heads of institutes. Some have even come and started their own institutes in China and are attracted to the work opportunities.
Fu is now chair professor at Westlake University, a private research university in Hangzhou, and has established a new lab. He said he chose Westlake over other offers from the US and elsewhere because of the young university's efficiency, rich research environment, and access to top talent.
I came back with just myself without even a piece of paper. But in half a year, the lab is completely full. But in the US, you cannot even find the high people with high.
Sama yellow, satu kufa, satu kun.
Some have called the exodus of Chinese scientists from the US a reverse brain drain and warned about its implications for American science. The Paris-based Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development says the annual net flow of scientific authors into the US has dropped since the China Initiative started. In 2018, the net flow of researchers into the US was more than 4,700, but by 2022, the figure was only 1,313. China, meanwhile, saw its net flow rise by nearly 80% over the same period to just over 2,400.
Despite the initiative now being over, it has also really impacted the research environment in the country, as many scientists are now afraid to collaborate with Chinese researchers, which is impacting the flow of research pretty significantly.
In a way, if you look at it, it's the loss of the US in general. Not mention this is speed institute based on the principle, based on the collaborative activities for humanity, right? Because we are not
听师傅讲哦，师傅知道哦。
doing any sensitive research. Everything get reported, and it's the knowledge belong to the entire mankind rather than to a specific country.
The NIH investigated at least 214 scientists. As of June 2024, 112 of them ended up losing their jobs. The NIH then tried to mend ties with its Asian and Asian American scientists. Its director at the time issued a statement acknowledging the difficulties sparked by the investigations. But some scientists say it was too little, too late.
It's too late to apologize.
Trump's return to office has also sparked fears of a potential revival of the crackdown and a more hostile research environment.
You tengok Trump ni, dia pandai sangat ke? Dia pandai buat bisnes je kot. Lain-lain tak tahulah dia pandai ke tak.
Less than a month into his second term,
You tengok saintis ni, warna rambut hijau dye, tapi dia pandai buat scientific administration. Tapi dia pandai bisnes ke tak? Itulah, jack of all trades, master of all.
the Trump administration has purged diversity initiatives from universities and pushed plans to cut billions in research funding through the NIH.
If more Chinese scientists choose to leave the US and less Chinese students choose to come into the country, this could certainly restructure the research community. US and China scientists have also been pursuing less joint research together in light of the China Initiative and other political tensions. And if this continues, it could have a severe negative impact on the research community, global research community.
Oh man, sounds like my mom though. I'm worried for this, I'm worried for that. Who?
Because these are the two scientific powerhouses of the world.
Okay, tengok komen. It shouldn't be limited to scientists. Why stay if you're treated as an enemy and discriminated against? Why stay in a country where you are treated as second-class citizens? My friends, who is double PhD holder, my friend who is a double PhD holder and a professor in the U.S. is returning to China because of discrimination by his university. Yada yada yada. Oh, the layman's comments, I don't give a dime. Should I post the comment? I should. But watch my videos make me rich. Skirt.